Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Barthélemy, here joined with Molly Ryan and Josh Guillory for the final tailgate show of the 2022 season. It's a bit cold out here, a bit chilly, but no worries. We're here to spice and heat it up for you guys. There's a lot going on tonight. Final home game, LSU versus UAB, back in Death Valley. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm certainly looking forward to how the Tigers respond on offense after a really slow game last week in Arkansas. And hopefully we see another outstanding performance by the defense in this final home game.
Most definitely. Josh?
You know, piggybacking off of what Molly said, I'm really looking forward to our defense and how we respond to the 6th-ranked rushing offense in the nation. Looking forward to a big game from Harold Perkins. Obviously, he's been a standout freshman all year. We're going to continue to talk about him later on, but I'm really looking forward to just the atmosphere of the game, you know, his final game. You know, just looking forward to it.
No game's a perfect one, and there are no solidified wins in football. There are some things LSU has to do to make sure that we can secure the win tonight. Josh?
Yeah, David, this is our last game here at Tiger Stadium against UAB. The 6th-ranked Tigers are going against UAB, 6th-ranked rushing attack. So we have a lot to do, a lot to look forward to, and a lot to cover to take care of business today. Here are the 3 keys to the game.
One key for the Tigers is to not settle down and get comfortable at the end of the season. The Tigers have solidified a trip to the SEC championship game. However, there is still work that needs to be done. The Tigers have stressed the importance of maintaining the consistent regimen to stay on track.
We focus on a process more so than an outcome. And so it's been a consistent way of how we do things on a day-to-day basis. We focus much more on, you know, the little things.
Key number 2 is to stop the run game from UAB. UAB currently holds the nation's 6th best rush offense thanks to running back duo Dwayne McBride and Jermaine Brown Jr. UAB is coming off of a game in which they rushed for 271 yards and a win against North Texas. The Tigers have made it a point of emphasis this week on how to stop their running game.
They have a different kind of offense that they bring in, but, you know, we're going to attack it the same as, you know, stop the run game because they have a good running back. So we're going to have to, up front, we're going to have to, you know, bow down and buckle down and just stop the run as a D-line and then let the back 7 do their thing.
Key number 3 is to ride the wave of Harold Perkins. The superstar freshman has made a name for himself this season, racking up 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, one of which sealed the game last week against Arkansas. Players have held high praise for the freshman for his abilities.
His versatility as a player, I mean, he's doing amazing things on the field each week in and week out. So, I mean, he's just going to continue to be dominant and keep doing his thing. So, the sky's the limit for him, man.
The Tigers look to close out the season victorious for the next 2 games and focus on December 3rd, Saturday, for the SEC championship against Georgia.
With a close win on the road last week against the Arkansas Razorback, LSU fans are anxious to get back in Tiger Stadium for one final home game of the season. The Tigers have trended in the right direction since their season opening loss against Florida State. With wins against every SEC West opponent so far, they've clinched their spot in the conference championship set for December 3rd against the undefeated Georgia Bulldogs. The Tigers remain focused on the present as they prepared for their last game in Death Valley against UAB.
And a consistent way of how we do things on a day-to-day basis. We focus much more on, you know, the little things. Our habits, how we think, what we do on a day-to-day basis, much more than outcomes, championships, things of that nature. So it's just been kind of business as usual for us this week, and our focus has been strictly on our preparation and preparing for UAB.
Death Valley will come to life one final time tonight and what will hopefully be a memorable night.
With just 2 regular games left in the season, Brian Kelly's first year as a head coach at LSU is coming to an end. He was able to lead the Tigers to a current 8-2 record, and he's led them to an SEC championship, which not many thought he could do as his first year as a head coach at LSU. Our sports reporter, Madeline Frentress, has more on that story.
As the first year of the Brian Kelly era comes to a close, the future looks bright for the LSU football team. After a disappointing loss in their season opener against Florida State, many people doubted Brian Kelly would be a good fit in Baton Rouge. Maybe he and the players needed a little extra time to adjust. Maybe they just didn't play their best football.
He's been doing this for a long time, so we just had to get to know him and him get to know us. And then from then on, it was just, let's play ball and let me show you how, my process is going to help you guys win. And then we bought into that, and then we've been trusting it ever since.
Now, with almost a full season under his belt in the SEC, Coach Kelly has proven his haters wrong. The Tigers rattled off 4 straight wins following their season opening loss, including a shutout against New Mexico. According to players, there's one phrase Coach Kelly has drilled into their heads all season: what's important now? It sums up the Tigers' mindset despite all the noise about their coach, about last year, and about their fate in the postseason.
Everything he said was true. Everything that he told us about the process, about trusting in it, keep working every day, the little details, everything's true, and everyone's seeing our success from it. So, it's a wonderful feeling for sure.
As Kelly consistently keeps his players focused on one game at a time, they began to see success and trust in his abilities. Throughout the season, Coach Kelly has said the only people who can decide the outcome of any game are his players, no matter the opponent they face.
I didn't put any wins or losses on this team. I want to play hard. I want to be better in November. I want to teach them how to win. I think we've hit all of those markers.
The Tigers have one more Saturday night in Death Valley against the UAB Blazers before closing out the regular season on the road at Texas A&M. With only 2 games left before they face number 1 Georgia in the SEC Championship, Coach Kelly's first season with LSU seems to be the start of something special.
Thanks, Madeline. Brian Kelly's first year as head coach has definitely been something special, and let's see if he can lead the Tigers to another win tonight against UAB. When we come back, we'll give you a game day weather forecast. Stay with us.
Time to show him who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to bronze. So good.
We're Tiger TV, LSU's student-run broadcast news station.
We're bringing you 4 newscasts a week, covering all things LSU.
Our news team is covering all the stories you need to know from LSU's campus and the Baton Rouge community.
And our sports team has you covered on the Tigers from the field to the court.
Tiger TV, sports, news, you.
Watch us on WBRZ 2+, Channel 11 at 11:10.
Welcome back to Tiger TV's Tailgate Show as we continue on with coverage. For a team that seemed on a collision course with a projected terrible season, the Purple and Gold have changed the course and have written their own story. Starting off with a rough loss against Florida State and now 8-2 with a chance to go to the SEC Championship, it seems that they were able to right the position and make noise as they gain a position in the college football playoffs.
Coming off 2 back-to-back rough seasons, expectations for the Tigers heading into the new season weren't so high. With the addition of a new head coach, Brian Kelly, and former Arizona State quarterback Jaden Daniels, not many expected the Tigers to now be 8-2, playing in the SEC Championship with a chance to make the college football playoffs. After a rough loss to Florida State in the season opener, morale was at an all-time low. With only a harder schedule ahead, fans are unsure how LSU would tackle their blatant problems.
I really think that the Florida State loss was just a warm-up. That's my perspective. The Florida State loss was a warm-up to what's become, because that was like a super close game, and I guess that really set us up to, like, we know how to win close games now. Brian Kelly has done just an absolutely phenomenal job of just adjusting his game plan, and look at what the offense has done ever since that game.
When it comes to the bigger picture, Brian Kelly's concern is making sure the team stays on course and takes every week of preparation as serious as it lasts, regardless of competition.
We focus on a process more so than an outcome. And so it's been a consistent way of how we do things on a day-to-day basis. We focus much more on, the little things. It's just been kind of business as usual for us this week, and our focus has been strictly on our preparation and preparing for UAB.
When faced with difficulty, these players made it their responsibility to stay true to themselves and the program that they're building.
And we all bought in, we're happy now, Everything he said was true. Everything that he told us about the process, about trusting in it, keep working every day, the little details, everything's true, and everyone's seeing our success from it. So, it's a wonderful feeling for sure.
The Tigers look to continue their win streak heading back to Death Valley for their final home game of the season against UAB. For Tiger TV, I'm David Bartholomew.
Playing in their 11th game of the season tonight, the Tigers look to put the past troubles beside them and prepare for UAB, which they have an interesting relationship with. UAB and LSU have gone 1-1. Playing in 2000, UAB took the win 13-10. 13 years later, LSU came on a dominating streak with Odell Beckham Jr., beating them 56-17, and they meet again 9 years later. And let's see what the Tigers can produce here tonight, if they'll come out with a win, or will UAB come out with a staunching victory.
Absolutely.
And it's been a bit chilly out here. I mean, Baton Rouge got pretty cold at the late of the season. You can even see, like, behind us, there isn't really much people out here besides the few tailgaters that have come in support, and it's just been a very cold environment, very stale outside. Usually these sides would be jam-packed with visitors and guests from the other sides and tailgaters. It's a little bit more cold, but there are still some people here 8 hours before kickoff nonetheless, and it'll sure to be, filling up as time goes by, as the weather changes here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, Tiger fans never fail to show love. No matter rain, sleet, snow, sunshine, it doesn't matter. We're gonna bring the energy, especially in the stadium during the game. And as you said, it is normally packed out here, but I know that when the game gets cracking, it's gonna be real energetic.
You're absolutely right, Josh. And Sydney Goldberg has our Tiger TV weather update for today.
Hey Tiger fans, I'm Sydney Goldberg. LSU has its last home game here in the Tiger Stadium for the season. It's set to kick off at 8 p.m. tonight, which is a little bit later than what we're used to. But the good news is those showers should be moving off to the east and thinning out, but we can't rule out a few showers or two, so still keep that rain gear on if you're heading into the stadium, and definitely bundle up. It's going to be cold. Those temperatures are in the 40s throughout the game, 45 for kickoff and 43 by the fourth quarter. So if you're heading into Tiger Stadium tonight, make sure to bring that rain gear and definitely bundle up. And remember, no umbrellas are allowed into the stadium. There's a look at your game day forecast here on Tiger TV.
Thanks, Sydney. In similarly cold weather, LSU narrowly defeated the Arkansas Razorbacks 13-10 last Saturday, and one defensive player stayed blazing hot in the freezing cold.
Harold Perkins once again earned the title of SEC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance in LSU's tight victory over the Hogs. This is the third game in a row he was honored by the SEC. The freshman linebacker was also named the Walter Camp Defensive Player of the Week.
We had some guys that had superlative, performances. Harold Perkins was certainly the SEC Player of the Week again. I don't think that's to anybody's surprise.
Perkins initially tied the LSU single game record with 4 sacks before one was taken away on a technicality. He also had 8 tackles and 2 forced fumbles, including this key one during Arkansas's final drive.
Yeah, Harold Perkins is a dog. Like, when you see him make plays, like, it's just expected. Like, I go on the sideline after we go over what happened in our plays. I look up, and he's making a play number 40, number 40, number 40.
His critical performance helped LSU clinch the SEC West and secure a spot in the SEC Championship. But this is not the first big game for the freshman. Perkins has been a critical player all season. His performance in the Ole Miss game earned him the title of SEC Freshman of the Week, and he was first named SEC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance in the Alabama game.
Yeah, he showed himself to be more than just a freshman at this early point of the stage. I'm very happy for him. He always come in every day, great attitude and ready to work.
As the Purple and Gold look to continue their winning streak this Saturday against the UAB Blazers, Perkins will likely continue to play a pivotal role.
He certainly played great all season and earned the spotlight, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how he plays today. When we return, reporter Nick Lopez joins us live from the studio to break down the situation in the college football playoffs after these messages.
Time to show him who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to bronze. So good.
We're Tiger TV, LSU's student-run broadcast news station.
We're bringing you 4 newscasts a week, covering all things LSU.
Our news team is covering all the stories you need to know from LSU's campus and the Baton Rouge community.
And our sports team has you covered on the Tigers from the field to the court.
Tiger TV, sports, news, you.
Watch us on WBRZ 2+, Channel 11 at 11:10.
Welcome back to the Tiger TV Tailgate Show. I'm Nick Lopez, and after the offseason shakeup, no one knew what to expect from this year's LSU football team. And after their heartbreaking loss to Florida State to open the season, fans didn't have high hopes. Since then, the Tigers sit at 8-2 and are still in the thick of the college football playoff race due to the development of a team many weren't expecting much from.
You know, they showed a fight, and so we knew that we had something after that game, that these guys had a special trait of resiliency. And so we worked hard on just building an identity within, and that was having a better focus from play to play, and that's grown throughout the year.
Coming into the year, the Purple and Gold only had a couple of surefire game changers that fans were aware of. Flash forward to now, and the team now has guys like Jaden Daniels, Will Campbell, and Harold Perkins who have put the college football world on notice and have been leading the charge for the Tigers during their SEC West championship run.
You know, the biggest thing this year is that they have jumped in the deep end and really didn't know how to swim. But they were not going to drown. They were going to find a way to stay above water and kicking and doing whatever is necessary. And that's kind of built this fight in them, this toughness in them. And they haven't been perfect, and certainly we're not there yet. But they have such a pride in LSU.
As the season has progressed, the Tigers have found their identity as a team that relies heavily on the run game, whether it has come from the running backs or Jaden Daniels. And all of those guys who get the chance to make a play when the ball is in their hands have made the most out of their opportunities.
That both of them have seized the opportunity they've been given and have been able to help our football team because of it.
LSU is one of the few teams left that controls their own destiny.
According to ESPN, if LSU wins out and upsets Georgia in the SEC championship, they have a 45% chance of making the college football playoff. But it would be hard to see the committee leave out the SEC champion who just beat the #1 team. So if LSU beats Georgia, there will be a lot of question marks around the final rankings. Back to y'all at the desk.
Thanks, Nick, for the college football updates. The LSU baseball team competed in their first annual Purple Gold World Series yesterday. This game showcased some of the Tigers' strengths as well as their weaknesses. The purple team took game 1 with the gold team following shortly behind. The final score was 48-32 in terms of points on the modified scoring system. The Tigers have progressed in the right direction since the beginning of the 6-week period. The team must remain focused as they still have 2 games left to play in the series, one being played in the afternoon, which was canceled today, and one tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. With this signaling the end of fall scrimmages, the Tigers are set to kick off their regular season on February 17th at Alex Box Stadium.
Moving from baseball to basketball, the Matt McMahon era is officially underway in Baton Rouge. LSU's men's basketball is off to a 3-0 start in non-conference play. This team is drastically different than the team of last year, with only 2 players on scholarship staying, Mawani Wilkinson and Adam Miller. Coach Matt McMahon brought plenty of talent with him from Murray State to LSU. The big man KJ Williams and point guard Justice Hill have proved to be threats in their respective roles, with Trey Hannibal providing a spark off the bench with such crafty handles and ability to finish at the rim. This upcoming week, the team heads international for the Cayman Island Classic, which will pit them against Illinois State and either Western Kentucky or Akron.
Thanks, Molly. When we get back, we'll be joined by Patricia Caputo, from the director of KLSU, for a student media crossover conversation. Don't go anywhere.
Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. So good.
We're Tiger TV, LSU's student-run broadcast news station.
We're bringing you 4 newscasts a week, covering all things LSU.
Our news team is covering all the stories you need to know from LSU's campus and the Baton Rouge community.
And our sports team has you covered on the Tigers from the field to the court.
Tiger TV, sports, news, you.
Watch us on WBRZ 2+, Channel 11 at 11:10.
Welcome back to the Chili Terrace, as we're now joined by KLSU Sports Director Patricia Caputo. Patricia, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great, doing fantastic on this lovely day.
So Patricia, give us some of your thoughts on the football season so far.
I'm excited what Brian Kelly has been able to do. A lot of people said he wouldn't fit into this Louisiana culture, and he's done just that, going 8-2 like you had mentioned earlier, and it's quite impressive that in his first year, he's going to an SEC championship game.
What were some of your opinions on Brian Kelly as the season was coming to a start? I know it was a rough start at Florida State. A lot of people kind of took a big step back, like, ooh, is he really that coach? How have you felt about him moving forward ever since?
When LSU first hired Brian Kelly, I was not sold. I was one of those people who didn't know if he's going to fit into this culture. But the only thing he hasn't done is won a championship. And he's proven that with a team that isn't necessarily his. He hasn't gotten to recruit everybody yet. But he was able to bring a guy like Harold Perkins over, have him recruit from Texas A&M. It's been quite impressive for this LSU team.
Yeah, I agree. Moving off of the gridiron, though, and onto the mound, how do you feel about LSU's baseball team? Jay Johnson is building a program over there. They had canceled today's second game of the Purple and Gold World Series due to conditions, but what they have over there is, how do you feel about it?
It's the second year in a row where Jay Johnson has recruited the #1 recruiting class in the nation. Jay Johnson has only been head coach for LSU for 2 seasons, so that's quite impressive by him. And fielding was a big issue for LSU, but they seem to improve that. Tommy White is a guy to look out for. He's coming over from North Carolina State, plays first base and third base, and he can hit as well. Had 27 home runs, breaking a 32-year NCAA record last season for the most home runs by a true freshman.
And moving from baseball to basketball, give us your thoughts on the start of this season with a new coach, Matt McMahon, and with Kim Mulkey.
Now they are 3-0 for the second time consecutively in a year, but not 100% sold on this team. They had a good win yesterday, or on Thursday rather, against New Orleans. You needed a guy like Derek Fountain to produce some points off the bench. He did that, 17 minutes, 15 points, along with Cam Hayes, who got his first points of the season as well. Whereas Kim Mulkey, quite impressive what she's been able to do in her second year, finally got to recruit her own team, and they are doing great. Angel Reese is a player that you have to look out for. Just last game, 33 points, 29 points, 33 minutes. Quite impressive start for her, especially with this recruiting class and these transfers being able to work so well together early in the season.
Yeah, most definitely. What Kim Mulkey's building is something special. It's nothing to scoff at that LSU has over 400 points now, the most in over 2 decades for a start of a season. And most definitely basketball looks like it's shaping up to be something hot once football is over.
Definitely.
But back to football, around the SEC, we have Georgia versus Kentucky today. How do you feel about that? What are your score predictions?
I like Georgia. Kentucky's just struggled. They've had injuries this season with their quarterback. Not exactly the season many people were expecting for Kentucky. Georgia looks like they're going to come away with the win, but I could see Kentucky putting up a fight. I would say about maybe 32-25 for Georgia.
I agree. Moving on, though, Tennessee at South Carolina. Tennessee's had kind of a bit of a shake ever since. How do you feel about that?
South Carolina, they're going to have to do a lot to come away with this win today. Tennessee, now they did lose their game to Georgia, was not quite impressive, but I think Tennessee's going to come away with this win.
And final question, tonight's game, LSU versus UAB. Score predictions?
I think LSU is going to come away with the win, 42-17. Nick Saban could not beat UAB in his first season at LSU. Brian Kelly's going to do just fine, and he's going to be able to do that.
Thank you so much, Patricia. When we come back, we'll wrap up the show and give our SEC Around the World thoughts. Don't go anywhere.
Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Shooting stars. Didn't even get to bronze. So good.
We're Tiger TV, LSU's student-run broadcast news station.
We're bringing you 4 newscasts a week, covering all things LSU.
Our news team is covering all the stories you need to know from LSU's campus and the Baton Rouge community.
And our sports team has you covered on the Tigers from the field to the court.
Tiger TV, sports, news, you.
Watch us on WBRZ 2+, Channel 11 at 11:10.
Welcome back to the Terrace as we wrap up today's coverage. All right, everyone, this is the time of the show where we go around the SEC football and we look at those matchups and we take our predictions.
Yeah, so to start us off, Florida versus Vanderbilt. I mean, Florida's coming off a really complete win against South Carolina, but Vanderbilt is also coming off a good win against Kentucky last week. I could see Vanderbilt giving the Florida defense a little bit of trouble with their ability to run the ball, but ultimately I think Florida has a more complete team and will pull out the win.
Next up, we have Georgia versus Kentucky, as Patricia just alluded to earlier. I have Georgia in a relatively blowout game. I wouldn't say blowout game. Yeah. You know, Georgia's been playing really well all season, so I see that matchup favoring their side.
Sticking with the Kentucky teams, I got West Kentucky versus Auburn. I think Auburn's going to come in this game potentially 28-14, take a win. They gave us a run for our money earlier in the season, but I think Auburn's a smooth sailing team. They have two dynamic quarterbacks, a great receiving core. They'll come into that game and they'll just perform how they perform for all 4 quarters.
Moving over to the Tennessee-South Carolina game, I mean, Tennessee has had a great season with only 1 loss to the undefeated Georgia Bulldogs. I don't really think South Carolina can match their athleticism, especially on the offense. I think Tennessee takes the win today, but I will be on the lookout for an upset as South Carolina is playing at home.
And up next, we have Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Arkansas is one of those weird, sneaky teams that could give you a really close game out of nowhere. It never seems to fail, but I have Ole Miss in this one. I think they're just too much for Arkansas, so I take an Ole Miss.
I got New Mexico State versus Missouri. I think Missouri's going to come and they'll win about 35-7. New Mexico does have a pretty solid defense. They have a good run game, but I just don't think they have enough weapons for them to put up a good competition against Missouri. And guys, last but not least, LSU versus UAB. What's your predictions?
I mean, LSU certainly has to come out stronger than last week on offense. We got to come out strong on defense again, as UAB has the 6th best rushing offense. But I think LSU will take the win in the final home game of the season.
Yes, I believe LSU will take the win in the final home game of the season. We have to come out strong. We can't settle just because we have the SEC championship game on lock. We have to finish the season strong and continue to move forward. But I believe LSU will take the win.
How much do you guys think they're going to win by? I'm hearing wins, but no scores.
Oh, I'm guessing, I'm going to say like 45-10.
Ooh.
All right. I'm going to go 35-13.
Those are some pretty low numbers. I got LSU winning 56-0. I feel like LSU is going to go in. They're going to, this game is going to be one of them games where Brian Kelly said it, just like he said, October is for pretenders, November is for contenders. So what better way to show that you're a contender by going into UAB tonight and blowing them out? It's a final game. It's senior night for these seniors too. So they're going to play, their families are going to be there, their friends are going to be here. They're going to have an amazing game, get them out. I expect the starters to be out by the halftime. Let's have the backups in practicing. But I think it's going to be a blowout game from the start to finish. And yeah, guys, I think that's it. Thank you very much for joining us for our final tailgate show of this season. It's been an honor for myself. Guys, any comments?
We'll be covering the game today, and we'll have all of your sports continuing to be covered. So check us out for updates after the game and during the game on Twitter. And you can catch our news beats live at 5 Monday through Thursday.
Thank you to everyone that watched the final edition of the tailgate season and has been with us the whole journey. My name is David Barthélemy, joined by Molly Ryan and Josh Guillory. Have a great day.